Okay, so service animals provide service, emotional support, make you feel good. What proof can be asked? I get this question all the time. What proof can be asked? So someone comes in with a dog and they say, this is a service animal and you have a no pet situation. Is this a pet? No, it's not a pet situation with a service animal, right? So can you charge a pet fee? No, because it's just a part of their body, basically. But what if their handicap is not apparent to your naked eye? Then what do? Can you ask someone who has a service animal to provide proof? It's tricky. I think that the best case scenario, that what you can ask about with a service animal is to ask what task that animal does. I don't want you to ask what their handicap is. I don't want you to ask for proof that the dog's a service animal, like no certificate or anything. I think what the federal government has said is really all you should be doing is saying what is the task that this animal does, and does it relate to a handicap? So if someone brings in a monkey and says, this is my service monkey, and it opens jars for me, can you say, here, have your monkey open this Fanta? No. So you cannot make the person prove that the animal's a service animal. You just have to use your best judgment about it. It's tough. So emotional support animals, though, are a little bit easier. They're a little bit harder in that there are more of them to vet, but they're a little bit easier because you can ask more questions, right? So you may not ask what the handicap is, and just get out of the habit of saying, what's your handicap? But with emotional support animals, you can ask them, do you have a handicap that requires the use of a support animal? And how does this support animal help you with that handicap? And you can ask for letter proof from a medical provider that they are in need of this animal because of a handicap. So where we get into the problems is these fly-by-night companies that they will give anybody a letter for a fee of $35 that says this is an emotional support animal. What you can do is require that the letter be from their personal medical provider. So you can ask the kinds of questions like, which doctor is this? Is this your treating physician? And you can start kind of drill down into where the letter came from and where, if you look at and see the letter is from San Francisco and the person is applying and they've always lived in DC, then it's highly unlikely that's their treating physician. A lot of folks that I'm working with now have portals that kind of ask a bunch of these questions and basically do a lot of the vetting. Mark, what do you do in your firm?
You can actually, every state has a database you can go to. So if a doctor sends you a note from California, you can actually go to their website, just like the Real Estate Commission, and put in the doctor's name and number and make sure they have a valid license and everything. So you can check them out that way, but it's a tricky situation. I mean, because a social worker could actually be one, and they should provide you their name and number, and you can look it up if it's from Florida or something, make sure it's active.
Right. There's also a service out there now called Pet Check. I think it's called Pet Check. Yeah, that's right. And they basically Pet Screen. Yeah, it looks great.
$20 for the first pet, $15 for each additional. Check it out.
And the tenants have to basically provide proof, and that company screens and goes and makes the phone calls and does the background check. And once that animal's in the system, then it makes it easier on the tenant. It makes it easier on landlords going forward.
Features, vaccines, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you can require the tenant go through the pet screen and give you the printout for an emotional support animal,
yes,
but not a service animal.
Right. You got it.
But what if they say this pit bull is my service animal? You just can't ask any questions.
You can ask what service that pit bull provides.
You should be able to tell. I mean, if it's a CNI dog or, you know, something like that, you're a lot more likely to be able to tell.
What about if a pit bull's an emotional support animal? Because, you know, that's the most we see is we don't allow pit bulls, it's emotional support animal. Then we're like, we don't know what to do.
Well, then you can make them prove that they have a handicapping condition that requires them to have this animal for comfort and support, and it has to come from someone who has intimate knowledge about the person's disability.
But the emotional support animal, it doesn't really have to be trained to do anything.
No.
I mean, it's just there.
It's just there.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It makes them, it quiets anxiety.
So you have to rent to them if they.
You have to make reasonable accommodation. Yes, you do. And can you charge a pet fee for an emotional support animal? No. And you see a lot of stuff on the news about airlines and whether or not they can bring their emotional support animals on the airlines, and that there's a whole different statute for that.